So we're talking about sports, business, and the economy today. And what is Trump up to on these days? He's tweeting out and attacking athletes, Olympic athletes, in fact. Trump says, U.S. Olympic skier Hunter Hess, a real loser. That's according to Trump, a real loser. Says he doesn't represent his country in the current Winter Olympics. If that's the case, he shouldn't have tried out for the team. And it's too bad he's on it. Very hard to root for someone like this. Make America great again. And that's what Trump is spending his time doing on athletes with the Olympics. He's got his lackeys in attacking our Olympic athlete. Byron Donald says, you chose to wear our flag. You chose to represent our country. You chose to compete at the Olympics. If that's too hard for you, then go home. Some things are bigger than politics. You just don't get it. Okay. And then Tim Burchett says, shut up and go play in the snow. So what did skier and Team USA, right, Hunter Hess say? He said, it brings up mixed emotions to represent the U.S. right now. Just because I wear the flag doesn't mean I represent everything that's going on in the USA, right? So basically the Trump people want your, undying and forever support. And you have to, love Trump, I guess, and love the flag all day, every day. And what do Trump people and them up to also? Well, in fact, Massey, he's a Republican, is calling for the resignation of Lutnick.
Trump's Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick said that he and his wife decided around 2005 to cut ties with Jeffrey Epstein. But the latest release shows that there was some correspondence after that, even after Epstein pleaded guilty to sex crimes in 2008. What questions do you have about Lutnick's ties to Epstein, and should he come before Congress and testify?
No, he should just resign. I mean, there are three people in Great Britain that have resigned in politics. The ambassador from Great Britain to the United States, the prince lost his title for less than what we've seen Howard Lutnick lie about. Look, Howard Lutnick clearly went to the island, if we believe what's in these files. He was in business with Jeffrey Epstein. And this was many years after Jeffrey Epstein was convicted, lightly sentenced, but was convicted for sexual crimes. So he's got a lot to answer for, but really he should make life easier on the president, frankly, and just resign. If this were Great Britain, he'd already be gone.
And just for the record, the Commerce Department says that he had limited interactions with Mr. Epstein in the presence of his wife, has never been accused of wrongdoing.
Whatever Lutnick's exact connections to Epstein are, I'm sure more and more stuff will keep coming out about him and others. But the overriding story that I want you to get from this stuff is that these people don't care about you. They just care about themselves. They want to go to their parties. They want to do their crimes or whatever they're up to. And they don't care about the economy either. They just want to create a system where basically the rich get richer and the poor get poorer, and then they'll act like everything's great.
The president's plan is working. The Trump economy is delivering for the American people, that we have strong growth, and inflation is in fact coming down. For the past 3 months, inflation is 2.1%, close to the Federal Reserve's target, and a measure called trueflation, which is daily observations, now is below 1%. So inflation down, strong growth, stocks at a record high, and the lowest crime rate in over 100 years. Democrats don't want to talk about that. They want to hoot and holler.
So I guess according to Besant, or even according to Trump, if you don't agree with their narrative, they'll tell you just go play in the snow. They say, oh, you're just hooting and hollering. These are how these people talk, right? These aren't really serious discussions at all. And then they want to go drink or whatever and have their parties with Epstein. That's who these people are. And when you actually look at Trump's economy, this is what's happening at the moment. It's a big gambling economy. That's basically what it is. This is actually Bloomberg today. It says gambling stocks sag as prediction markets steal Super Bowl bets. Okay, so what's going on here? So in 2018, there was a change at the Supreme Court. Basically, you're going to start to see various states have gambling in it, right? Sports betting. Some will have it, some won't. But then we have this other thing that which has sort of been the rise the last couple of years. These prediction markets, which fall over a different category than, say, outright sports betting, although it is sports betting. And I'm talking about this stuff because it relates to the Trump, Musk, Commerce, Lutnick, Besant world. because they're always looking and willing to turn a blind eye to corruption as long as they can profit in some way. And essentially that's where we're at. I think this also represents our economy in the USA, where it's a gambling economy, right? If you're not part of the elites like the Musks or the Trumps, then you're off, basically rolling the dice, flipping a coin, and as if that's the only way you can make it. And then they'll tell you, well, it's all your fault if you're not making it, because look how great inflation is. Like, that's how betting comes out on TV. But then when you look at sort of the gambling economy that is the USA these days, it is insane. This is also from Bloomberg today. It says Kalshi and Polymarket rewrite the Super Bowl playbook for pro gamblers. And so it's funny because we were just talking about the other day how someone sits in front of the multiple monitors and runs all their chat bots to run various scams or whatever they're doing and flooding social media with AI content. Now you got these people. This guy's got like multiple monitors, multiple keyboards, etc., and plays the professional betting market. I know people do this, but I mean, it's just outright gambling. Let me read a little bit to you guys. You get a general sense of what it is. It says Kalshi and other federally regulated exchanges have opened up online betting to tens of millions of Americans. So I guess a lot of people are doing this, who live in states where sports books remain illegal, sparking a legal war with gaming regulators in states where betting is allowed, and setting off a race among financial exchanges, brokerage firms, and gambling companies to win market share in the nascent industry. While so-called event contracts tied to elections and geopolitics have gotten a lot of attention, sports has been the fastest growth and attracted the most dollars. So effectively, there's a lot of things you can bet on these days, but sports remains being like one of the most popular kinds of things. And then you get into like how much money and how big this is growing. I mean, you can see right here, this is actually from July of last year to now. It's just going up nuts. This is sports here. It says Kalshi's weekly notional trading volume on sports and other categories. Okay. And then there's the other part here where they're talking about like how much they bet, and they're betting on all kinds of stuff. So it says, for example, DeRosa and his colleagues put roughly $12 million a week. $12 million a week. This is just one group. And this particular person, they had like a 17-person betting syndicate is how they describe it. Betting syndicate. And they bet on like tennis, NBA, all sorts of stuff. Because this happens largely through surrogates, just getting the money out the door can be arduous. For us to bet $30,000 or $40,000 on a tennis game, we have to click over 300 counts. Okay. I always say we're sports bettors. We're not gangsters. So we get stiffed all the time. Okay. And so a way that a lot of these companies profit is basically get you betting on all kinds of stuff, multiple bets, and then small fees on each time, basically each transaction, and skim off the top. You guys can see how this game would be played. And then some of these things can be really touchy because I'm at this point, I'm sure there's a lot of insider trading going on. So for example, this was in CNBC today. Prediction markets allow trading on Super Bowl commercials, prompting insider trading questions. You guys probably get the problem with this because there's already going to be a group of people that already know which companies are advertising at the Super Bowl. Like people are betting which ones. So for example, this is the list here. So I didn't even know people were doing this, but they are. So at the moment, I guess you're going to see an ad from Amazon, Google, Toyota, State Farm, OpenAI, etc. But before, right, no one knew necessarily. You were just literally taking bets. Anthropic's going to be, I guess, advertising Coinbase, crypto, and then we're not sure about some of these other ones. Is Apple or Nvidia or Progressive or whatever. Progressive usually advertises the Super Bowl. That's something that they do. But it's just interesting that it's like really betting on anything. These days, though, our economy has changed. This was really interesting. The automakers largely sit out of 2026 Super Bowl advertising amid industry uncertainty. What the heck? Normally, car companies like make up a pretty big part of advertising the Super Bowl. So it says here, automakers accounted for 40% of Super Bowl ad minutes in 2012, but dropped all the way to 7% by 2025. Wow. So it is a major change in the shift of the economy and sort of what dominates it. And it seems like these days the growth is AI stuff. I guess that's what's driving our economy, gambling. And it's funny because like when you look at maybe the companies that are going to advertise, I think there should be a list out there by now. So you're probably going to see Anthropic and OpenAI, Salesforce, State Farm, Toyota, Google, Amazon, and Coinbase crypto, which is like, I guess, a 50-50 shot. But that's what this is the money that's driving the economy. And in fact, true story, during the dot-com bubble, pets.com had a really famous commercials where like the sock puppet of the pet that represented our bubble markets. If you want to bet on sports at the moment, I guess the bet is the Seahawks, or the Seattle is favored. They're like 70%, but who knows with this stuff. You can also bet on who's going to be the MVP. I guess Sam Darnold is the favorite, followed by Jake May and Jackson Smith. Literally, you can bet on anything these days. And they can even bet on when will USA attack Iran. And it's got dates here. So are they going to attack Iran by March 31st? I guess it's got the highest. Nope, no, I take that back. By June 30th, right? But all these kind of things, like a lot of this stuff, there's going to be some sort of insider knowledge on this stuff, right? And this goes back to the Trump stuff, to where they're all corrupt to allow these kind of markets to take place, right? You guys can see what I'm saying. Like, there's a lot of these categories could be totally be manipulated. And then there's like a lot of it's sports, but it could be other stuff like, what song are they going to sing first? What color is the Gatorade going to be when they dump the Gatorade on the coach who wins the game? It really is the crazy crap like this. Who will perform at the halftime show? That's what people are betting on. What's the first song going to be at the halftime show? And if you report on this stuff, they'll put pressure on you, right? So if you don't know, Washington Post, owned by Jeff Bezos, recently they fired a lot of their people. And then just to, I think it's just the last couple of days, the CEO just resigned. Washington Post chief executive steps down after mass layoffs. All these things are connected, right? You have a Trump group of people that are deeply corrupt. They spend their time attacking Olympic athletes, and then they have this long history of like crazy corruption, and we'll just call it bad associations with people like Epstein, however you want to call that kind of world. But that's the world that it is. And then they will do whatever, as long as someone puts money in their pocket. And then you get that crypto world, AI world, right? And then you got this crazy gambling world with a lot of insider trading. And this is like no mystery how we got here. Remember, Trump owned casinos, and something that I always point out, just factual stuff. He owned casinos; they went bankrupt, and for some reason, someone's like, "Oh yeah, you know what? That's what I really want in a president." And the MAGA's like, "Yeah, I really want someone who ran casinos. I really want USA to become a big casino," and that's essentially what it is right now. Our economy is a big casino, and good luck, roll the dice. But as you guys know, the House always wins with this stuff, and I'm looking to change the House. So that's my thoughts on these things. Just want to let you guys know what's going on. And want to hear your thoughts on this stuff. And I'll catch you on the next video.